All right. Hello, everyone. I just wanted to. Hey, Sherry, how you doing? Hello. Sherry, can you hear me? Oh, you're muted if you're talking. All right. Sherry, can you hear me? You're muted if you're trying to talk. So,
Now can you hear me?
yep. Now I can hear
Woohoo!
you.
Gosh, that was like
Hey,
rocket surgery.
me and Dr. Willie did a whole half-hour presentation on Zoom, and then at the end, I realized that I had unmuted it and forgot to unmute it. So, so, well, I guess we did a little practice run there. So, but it
I like it.
happens. It happens. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I missed you last week. I took off and went fishing.
Nice. Yeah, good for you. That's good.
hmm
You and James?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
So I've got my own personal little pontoon boat with the two bladders.
Nice. Catch
So
any?
yeah, went out to Springfield and I stared at the geese and stared at the swans and stared at the baby geese and gosh, what a treat.
That's awesome. Enjoying
Yeah,
nature creation, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to do it. Sometimes I forget. I forget how blessed we are where we live.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we should I kind of forget that too and don't take the time to get out there and do some stuff, Enjoy it. Get too busy and
Yeah.
yeah. That's good good for the stress relief too, just being outdoors and in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
good.
Sometimes we get so busy with busyness, you know.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So, and it's not really anything that's a benefit to us, that busyness, sometimes it wears us down. It's not a benefit. We forget that you don't need to be busy for the sake of being busy.
Right. Yeah, we have to be and well, yeah, we have to be deliberate about how we take care of ourselves. Like there's always going to be work to do. There's always going to be um, chores and little
Mhm.
urgent tasks that need that want our attention, right? And so we have to be like more deliberate about what we allow to preoccupy our time because we all have a finite amount of time on this earth.
Mhm.
So we don't want to just waste our days run around trying to put out fires and kind of like the Mary and Martha scenario, right? In the Bible.
Right. You know, I didn't think a lot about it, and me, I volunteer for everything. I'm always watching somebody's kids or somebody's house, somebody's dogs, teaching Sunday school, hosting a class. I've always got stuff. And in February, when my health started becoming the forefront, that I thought, wait a second, what am I doing? And so it was suggested to me strongly by Dr. Willie to take a year off. He said, "You need a year of no." And I was like, "I did you just lapse into tongues? What do you mean a year
Yeah.
of no?" That's He's like, "Well, how would you like 5 years of no?" I said, "I think a year of no is probably fair." That's
Yeah.
So I started cutting things out. and telling people no. Oh my.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was harder on them or harder on me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a hard habit to break into for sure. If you're just so used to taking on things and being a servant, it's hard.
Yes. Yeah, it was cool because my husband reminded me. He said, remember on the airplane, the stewardess tells you that you got to put the oxygen on yourself before you help anybody else.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, good point. So it hit
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, you can't help anybody else if you're not doing well yourself. Um, so yeah, there's definitely an art to that, of knowing who to help and what you can take on and what you can't take on. And we have seasons where there's times where we feel more productive and we can do more, but then those are also those seasons where we need to back off and say, I just gotta take a rest and uh, kind of revitalize myself and then I can come back and do some more. But
Yeah.
good good things to continue to challenge ourselves with for sure. What are So like we have to kind of always just constantly think about where are we at in terms of our life balance, right? In terms of work, play, family, uh, exercise, diet, all the things that are make up who we are, in terms of our
Mhm.
as a person. Spiritual, obviously very important. Just and it's a constant effort to maintain that balance. So then some days we'll be out more off than in one area than the other, and then another day we might be off in a different area. So it's just a constant process of trying to keep the balance. Um, but
Mhm.
definitely,
Yeah, God created us to be verbs. We're supposed to be verbs. We're supposed to be bodies in motion. Um, but I think to sometimes like with our jobs and stuff like that, we feel the need to be in motion more more than necessary to justify our jobs, to justify making a living, to justify our times. So our society makes it to where you're a slacker if you're not doing something.
yeah. Yeah, we definitely um, idolize busyness and productivity over relaxation
Mhm.
and leisure, and uh, so yeah, I think kind of like just taking a step back and really saying, at the end of your life, what do you really want your life to be about? Is it, oh man, they were the busiest person I ever met. They just never stopped, they never slowed down, they just kept going. And I mean, or is it really how you make people feel and the quality of relationship that you have with people, is more
Yeah.
impactful than anything. So um,
I thought, it's funny that you said that because I was thinking about that the other day, about, people think very little of you. They don't. They've
yeah,
got themselves on their mind. They're thinking 5 steps ahead. But I thought, if how would I like to be perceived? And I thought I would like to be perceived as kind, that I'm very kind.
Yeah.
I hope that's the thought that comes to people, that I made time for them and I was kind. So yeah, not frantically busy doing stuff that doesn't matter,
Right.
that I could stop and focus, and yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that. So what's yeah, what are our virtues, I guess, right? Like what sort of virtues? And we all have different ideas of what's important in terms of virtues, honesty or integrity and uh hardworking, kind, loving, all just so many different virtues that may be important.
Mhm.
Everybody has a different virtue that they resonate with, and so I think that's good to kind of really think about what is important to you, and then emulate that, but also finding the balance to where you're not just wearing yourself out because some people, or maybe just people in general, will just continue to kind of take and require more from you, even and as long as you're willing to give it, they're going to take it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's where we
Oh
got.
yeah. Yeah, we were. I volunteered for Vacation Bible School for, I don't know, the past 8 years probably. And I was asked, are you going to do it? And I said, no, but James is. And what? You're what? You're not going to? I said, no, I'm not going to this year. Well, will you let me know what capacity that you would like to help in? And James said, none. That's the capacity. She's not going to help in any capacity this year.
Yeah,
It was like, oh, oh my.
yeah, yeah. You definitely got
I
their
know.
attention. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was, I'm like, yeah, it's okay, and then you almost feel like you have to explain
Yeah,
to someone. And I thought, man, I'm a 64-year-old woman. Why do I have to explain to somebody about my business?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think, yeah, and I feel that same way. Like when I tell somebody no, and I feel like I have to explain why, oh, I can't because this and that. And it's like, we shouldn't have to, right? I mean, it's
No.
hopefully, hopefully people will respect you and say, oh, okay, I understand, and that gives the opportunity for other people to step up and help too, right? Because there's plenty of people that maybe they're just kind of standing back and kind of hiding in the corner kind of thing where
Yeah.
they need the opportunity to um, share their gifts with people and be a part of a body, be a part of a team.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, it's that season. It feels like that season that, with this health journey, with learning about nutrition, with learning about my body and what feels good in those things and what doesn't feel so good, and um I want to focus on that. I've never been, and it's not selfish, it's just being self-aware.
yeah,
It just feels like it's that season that I would like to be more self-aware of myself.
yeah, yeah, that's great. I think that's how we become better people too, being more self-aware of where we're at and being able to take care of ourselves so that we can be more fully present and use the gifts and talents that we have without burning ourselves out too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, man, can't you? Can't you? Can't you? Well,
Yeah. Well, good. That's good. That's a good journey that we all have to be on, right? So
yeah.
not easy, but definitely worth it. And so
It
little,
really, it really is. I picked out 16 books that I would like to read by April 9th of next year.
yeah,
I've never done that before. I've never done that before. I mean, I'm an avid reader. I love to read. I love the smell of books. I love to sit down with them, the whole gig. But I've never thought in this year, and they're all good, more knowledge about oneself and like boundaries. One of the books is boundaries. I started and I'm like, oh, I can't. It's too much. I can't have boundaries. That's
yeah,
crazy talk. So
yeah,
no. And so I thought, to do 16 books in a year is not a stretch, but it's just a goal for myself to kind of invest in myself.
yeah, definitely. How'd you pick the books?
They're women authors that I have been familiar with throughout the years, like, boundaries. One of them's called Sovereign. So it talks about how, on the reservation, that's a sovereign nation. It talks about guarding yourself as being your sovereign nation. So when you know things are coming in that aren't good for your sovereign, you have the ability to go, no, I don't. That's not quite right for myself. To protect yourself like it's your sovereign nation.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good concept for sure. Um,
Yeah. So just a lot of women's, why women feel kind of weird about themselves and hormones and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So years ago, my grandma, she was a lovely Christian woman from her 20s till she passed away at 95. But she'd always tell me, Sherry Dawn, you can eat the fish, but you don't have to eat the bones. So, I picked some books that I thought have some good fish, but they might have a few bones that I don't have to eat. So,
I like that saying. That's
it's a
something.
good one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of along the same lines when I was young and just kind of getting into riding bulls and um, I think it was my grandpa who told me, you're going to get a lot of people who think that they're experts and they're going to give you advice. So you got to figure out what advice is worth keeping and what advice is worth like just letting go of, and just kind of be respectful and take take all the advice that somebody's willing to give you, but just be aware that not all advice is good advice. So I think that's same lines of what your grandma was sharing with you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has opinions, but they don't, their opinion doesn't define who I am, and it shouldn't define who I am.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, because they don't live in my pad. They don't do my stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting concept that we let people sometimes dictate those things.
Yeah.
In your field, especially in your health field, gosh, there's so much stuff out there that it's not it's not beneficial. It's not a cookie cutter thing,
Yeah.
but they write books on you should do all this stuff, and it's like, I don't think I should do that.
Yeah, I think that, technology has made it to where everybody can be an expert. Um,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of noise, so then it's trying to figure out what is noise and I guess what is fish and what is bones, huh?
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, our world is full of that, full of information. It's interesting for our Bible study. James did an AI to keep track of the study and see how it turned out. And the way that the AI heard the things that we are discussing wasn't, just because it's a computer doesn't mean it's right.
right. Yeah,
And so the way that it was perceiving, the way that it was taking that information in, um, it didn't have the heart of it. It didn't have the emotion or the stuff that makes us us. It was kind of cut and dried and not always on point. It was weird. It was a weird thing.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely, I mean, it can be a useful tool to give you kind of some guidance, but not, you don't want to just be fully reliant on that. I mean, you still have to use your brain and kind of, look at it and um, n- not just fully rely on that, right? It's not going to replace humans and um, our emotions
Hmm.
and how we the message the core message, I guess, of what we're trying to say. Yeah, but
Yeah, it was an interesting thing. James is like, "Do you think the group wants a copy of this?" I'm like, "They're all in their 80s. Probably not."
yeah.
James and I are the youngest ones, and we're 64. I'm like, pride. I can't see some of these 80-year-old people going, "Ooh, that AI, they are on to something."
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Well, good.
It's interesting stuff.
Yeah. And who knows how, how that's going to change things in the near future, but it'll be interesting for sure. But I think if we continue to be, like you said, self-aware and learn to say no at times, not feel like we have to do everything, but be willing to be willing to serve others, right? I mean, we're not trying to advocate that everybody should be selfish and just only take care of themselves, but really have the heart that, I want to serve others, but really to truly help people, I have to make sure that I'm taken care of and not just burn myself out. So, um, and then use those tools
Mhm.
that we have, internet, technology, AI, calendars and alarms and different things like that that can kind of help us in that journey. But really, it's not going to do it for us. Um, we need to be,
Mhm.
willing to find the balance there. And so I really feel like that's really what being optimally healthy is all about is balance in things and making sure that you're eating a healthy diet,
Mhm.
you're exercising regularly, you're getting plenty of rest, you know, you're spiritually you're in a good place, relationships, all these things,
Mhm.
all all help, contribute to overall health.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Mhm.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate you getting on today. You're the you're the you're the what's the word? Consistent one. So,
Right.
but yeah.
No, I like it. I learn stuff. I like to I like to pick your brain. I like to get your opinions on stuff. And I mean, you're my doctor, but I as a human being, I respect you. I respect what you tell me. So, yeah, it to be able to come before you and have this much of your time. Are you kidding? Why wouldn't I? You know?
Well, that's what we want. We want to, just have multiple ways of supporting you and keeping you on the journey, but then also keeps ourselves too, right? I mean, we
Mhm.
learn by teaching and so it's good stuff to be able to bounce stuff off each other and learn from each other. So I appreciate you sharing your journey with us.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah. All right, Sherry, we'll tell James hi and we'll maybe see you next week, huh?
Right on. All right. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have an awesome day.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
All right, bye.